The autumn air hung crisp over the football field, carrying the faint smell of wet grass and excitement. Ethan adjusted his bag on his shoulder, his heart thumping, not because of practice, but because of him. Leo, the captain of the school football team, golden-haired, tall, and impossibly perfect. The guy who everyone adored and somehow made Ethan feel invisible with just a smile. Ethan had been secretly in love with him for months. It was the kind of love that made your stomach twist every time Leo laughed too close, or passed by in his uniform, or shouted instructions during practice. Ethan knew better than to hope. Leo was untouchable, captain, charismatic, straight, or at least everyone assumed so. And yet there was something in the way Leo looked at his team sometimes, a softness that not everyone saw. Practice started. The team ran drills under the watchful eye of Coach Daniels. Ethan stayed at the back, pretending to focus on agility exercises, though his eyes often drifted toward Leo. There he was, shouting encouragements, hands clapping, confidence radiating off him like sunlight. Ethan wanted to tell him, wanted to say, I like you so much it hurts, but the words stayed stuck in his throat. During a break, Ethan took a sip of water and leaned against the goalpost. That's when Leo walked over. The closer he got, the faster Ethan's heart raced. Hey, Ethan, Leo said, voice warm but casual. Why are you standing over here? You're supposed to run laps. I'm fine, Ethan muttered, trying not to sound flustered. Leo tilted his head, studying him like he could see right through the walls Ethan had built around his feelings. You've been distracted lately. Everything okay? Ethan shrugged. Yeah, just tired, I guess. Leo nodded, accepting the answer, but not really. There was a moment of silence between them, one of those brief pauses that felt heavier than it should. Ethan wanted to say something, anything, but the whistle blew, signaling the end of the break. Leo jogged back to the team, leaving Ethan standing there, heart pounding, cheeks burning. Practice continued, drills blending into one another. Ethan tried to focus, but he kept sneaking glances at Leo. Every laugh, every smile, every shout made his chest tight. By the end of practice, his legs were sore, his body exhausted, but his mind was still spinning. Later in the locker room, Ethan changed quietly, hopping to avoid Leo. But luck or fate wasn't on his side. Leo entered a few minutes later, dripping with sweat, and immediately went to the lockers next to Ethan. You're quiet today, Leo remarked casually, grabbing a towel. Not like you to stay so silent. Ethan forced a laugh, just thinking. Leo leaned back against the locker, stretching, then looked at him with a half smile, thinking about football or something else. Ethan's stomach flipped. Don't look at me like that. Don't make me feel like I could tell you everything. Football? Ethan lied quickly. Leo smirked, clearly not buying it. Right, football, sure. The room felt smaller suddenly. The sounds of lockers clanging and distant showers seemed far away. Ethan wanted to disappear, wanted to confess, wanted to hold onto the chance, no matter how small. But he didn't. He just nodded, pulled on his hoodie, and tried to focus on anything else. After practice, Ethan lingered, helping Coach Daniels put away equipment. Leo, finishing up some stretches, noticed him and walked over again. You're always around after practice, Leo said, tossing a ball lightly in his hands. Why? Ethan paused, unsure what to say. I like being around the team, helping out. Leo's gaze softened and he sat on the bench beside Ethan. You don't have to hide from me, you know. I notice things, I notice you. Ethan's throat tightened. Notice me like what? Like a teammate, like a friend, or like you might see me differently. Thanks, he managed, forcing a small smile. Leo stood and held out his hand, brushing lightly against Ethan. Come on, let's finish up. The brush of his fingers lingered longer than it should have. Ethan's pulse raced. He had no idea if Leo meant anything by it, but it was enough to keep him thinking all night. Enough to make him dream of impossible scenarios, walks home together, late-night talks, laughter spilling into empty streets. That night, Ethan lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, heart full of longing and dread. I shouldn't hope, I shouldn't feel like this, but I can't stop. And somewhere, miles away, Leo tossed in his own bed, thinking about Ethan too, wondering why his chest felt tighter around him, why he looked forward to seeing him every day, why the captain who was supposed to lead everyone else felt vulnerable around Ethan. Noah, the team's goalie, would say it's hopeless. Coach would say it's a distraction. Everyone would say Leo could never feel the same way. And yet there was a flicker, a chance, however small, that maybe, just maybe, love could find its way, even in a place where it wasn't allowed. The next morning, the sun barely lit the edges of the school grounds, but Ethan was already on the track, stretching quietly. The team hadn't arrived yet, giving him a rare moment of peace. and a moment to think about Leo. He couldn't stop replaying yesterday. The brush of Leo's fingers, the soft words in the locker room, the way his smile lingered in Ethan's mind long after he'd left. He knew it was dangerous to hope. Leo was the captain, admired by everyone, and Ethan, he was just another player. But every time Leo looked at him in a way that felt different, Ethan's chest clenched with something he refused to name. Footsteps approached. Ethan turned to see Leo jogging lightly, his blonde hair damp from sweat, wearing his captain's practice jersey. He slowed when he saw Ethan. "Morning," Leo said, wiping his hands on his shorts. "You're early." "Morning," Ethan replied, forcing his voice steady. "I like the quiet before practice starts." Leo nodded, stretching near the track. "I get that. Sometimes I just want a moment before all the chaos." They ran drills together that morning, side by side. Ethan tried to act normal, but normal felt impossible. He caught himself starring when Leo laughed or gave instructions to the team. Leo caught his gaze once, and for a heartbeat, their eyes locked. Then Leo looked away, almost as if he were trying to hide something. After practice, the team headed to the cafeteria. Ethan was about to slip away when Leo called him over. "Wait up," Leo said, falling into step beside him. "I wanted to ask something. You're really committed to the team, always helping out, always practicing hard. Why?" Ethan shrugged. "I like being part of something bigger. Feels good." Leo smiled, the kind that made everyone else fade away. "I like that about you. You care." Ethan's heart thudded. He wanted to tell him everything. The nights he stayed awake thinking about him, the way his stomach flipped when Leo smiled, the way he felt like his world revolved around this one person. But he couldn't. He just nodded, words failing him. They sat together at a table in the corner, avoiding most of the cafeteria chatter. It was quiet, a little stolen moment amid the chaos of school life. Leo leaned back slightly, watching Ethan pick at his sandwich. "You ever feel like there's someone you're not supposed to feel like this about?" Leo asked suddenly, voice low, careful. Ethan froze, his heart skipped. "What do you mean?" Leo's eyes met his. "Someone you can't love, someone who's off limits." Ethan's stomach twisted. "Is he talking about me?" His mind raced, but he kept his tone neutral. "I guess sometimes, yeah." Leo nodded, quiet for a moment. "It's stupid. Sometimes I feel like that. Like there's someone I want to care about, but I can't." Ethan's pulse quickened. He wanted to ask, "Is it me?" But the words wouldn't form. Instead, he said, "I get it." The bell rang and the moment was gone. They went their separate ways, each carrying thoughts too big to say aloud. Later that day, during gym, they were paired for drills. It was simple, just passing a football back and forth, but their hands brushed once, twice, and Ethan felt like the world had shifted. Leo caught his gaze again, that familiar, impossible softness in his eyes. For a second, they both froze, as if acknowledging a truth neither dared speak. After gym, Ethan stayed behind, helping the coach put away cones. Leo lingered by the field, pretending to check the goalposts. Then he walked over, his usual confident stride faltering slightly when he noticed Ethan. "You're always around," Leo said quietly, almost shy. "Not that I mind." Ethan's throat tightened. "I like helping." Leo nodded, scratching the back of his neck. "Yeah, I like that about you too." Their eyes met, longer this time, hotter, heavier. There was something dangerous in the way Leo looked at him, a mix of admiration, longing, and fear. Ethan's chest ached. "I shouldn't say this," Leo said finally, his voice barely above a whisper, "but you make things harder for me, in a way I don't think I should feel." Ethan's heart raced. "He feels it too." Leo stepped back, shaking his head as if trying to erase the moment. I have to go. Coach is waiting." And just like that, he was gone. Ethan leaned against the goalpost, trying to calm himself, his mind spinning. He didn't know what would happen next. He didn't know if Leo could ever be allowed to feel the same. But one thing was certain, the game had changed, and neither of them could pretend the feelings weren't there anymore. Walking home, Ethan's thoughts were loud, wild, and consuming. Every glance, every touch, every word from today replayed endlessly. He knew it was risky. He knew he was stepping into territory no one in school would approve of. And yet, the pull between them was undeniable. And maybe, just maybe, football wasn't the only thing Leo was captain of anymore. The weekend brought the rare kind of quiet that felt foreign to Ethan. Most of his Saturdays were consumed with homework, chores, or extra workouts. But today, he had nothing planned. It should have felt relaxing, but all he could think about was Leo. Ethan found himself walking toward the park, a shortcut home from his part-time job. The golden afternoon light caught the edges of the football field, and there, practicing alone, was Leo. His hair was damp, his sleeves rolled up, and his focus was intense. Watching him like this made Ethan's chest ache with longing. "Hey," Ethan called softly, not wanting to startle him. Leo looked up, surprised but not unhappy. Ethan didn't Didn't expect to see you here. I was walking by, Ethan said quickly, trying to sound casual. Leo smiled, a hint of something unspoken in his eyes. Want to join me for some drills? Ethan hesitated, then nodded. It felt reckless, maybe foolish, but he couldn't resist. They ran through simple passing drills, laughing when one misfired, teasing each other lightly. The tension that usually gripped Ethan around Leo was still there, but it had softened. Here, away from the team and the rules, they could be themselves. You're good, Ethan said after a successful pass. Leo caught the ball and tossed it back. You're not bad yourself. His smile lingered, and Ethan felt his stomach flip. They paused for water, standing close, side by side. The silence was comfortable but charged. Ethan's mind screamed with thoughts he wasn't ready to voice. You ever feel like everything is easier when someone else gets it? Leo asked, eyes tracing the lines of the field. Ethan looked at him. Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. Leo's gaze met his, steady and searching. Sometimes I wish I could say things I'm not supposed to, like feelings I shouldn't have. Ethan's pulse jumped. He wanted to ask, are you talking about me? But he kept quiet. Like, he prompted instead. Leo's smile was small, bittersweet. Like, wanting someone I shouldn't want. Ethan's stomach twisted. Every instinct screamed that Leo was speaking to him, but the words were carefully vague, like a tightrope he couldn't cross. Before Ethan could reply, Leo grabbed the ball and jogged a few steps away. Ethan chased after him, both laughing, both pretending the tension wasn't suffocating, but it was. Later, sitting on the grass with the ball between them, Ethan finally allowed himself a glance he hadn't dared before. Leo's hand brushed his accidentally, or maybe not. His fingers lingered against Ethan's for a heartbeat, sending a jolt through him. I like spending time with you, Leo said suddenly, almost a whisper. More than I should, maybe more than anyone should. Ethan froze, heart hammering. Leo looked away quickly, kicking at the dirt nervously. I shouldn't be saying this. Forget I did. Ethan wanted to grab his hand to tell him it was okay, that he felt the same, but he didn't. He just nodded, swallowing the words. I won't forget. They sat there, the sun dipping lower, painting the field in warm amber. For a brief moment, everything felt possible, feelings acknowledged but unspoken, a connection stronger than any rule or expectation. Eventually, Leo stood. I should head home. Parents are expecting me. Ethan nodded, standing too. Yeah, me too. They walked back together, side by side, careful to keep a distance. Their shoulders brushed once, a fleeting touch, but enough to leave Ethan's mind spinning for the rest of the day. That night, lying in bed, he replayed every look, every brush of skin, every word. Leo wasn't just the captain anymore. He was the reason Ethan's heart beat too fast, the reason he stayed awake imagining impossible futures. And somewhere he couldn't reach, Leo was doing the same. The gym smelled of sweat, chalk, and determination. The autumn air had turned cold, and the football field outside felt miles away. Yet inside, the team moved as if nothing else existed. Ethan tried to focus on drills, on footwork, on passes, but his mind refused. Leo was everywhere, golden hair sticking to his forehead, eyes sharp, commanding. But even in his captain persona, there was softness reserved only for Ethan. A glance, a brief smile, a shared joke, small, fleeting things, but enough to make Ethan's chest ache. During halftime, the team gathered on the benches. Leo passed out water bottles, checking each player's posture and focus. When he reached Ethan, he paused just slightly longer than necessary, handing him a bottle with a small, knowing smile. You okay? Leo asked, crouching slightly to meet his gaze. Ethan swallowed. Yeah, I'm fine. Leo tilted his head. You don't sound fine. Ethan wanted to argue, to lie, to pretend he wasn't spinning inside. Instead, he just nodded, letting Leo's eyes linger on him a moment longer than usual. Coach Daniels cleared his throat. Team, back to the field in 30 seconds. Let's move. Leo stood, giving Ethan a nod before walking away. Ethan's heart thudded against his ribs. He hated that a simple look from Leo could leave him breathless. He hated how much he wanted this, and hated that it was dangerous. The second half of practice was brutal. Running plays, tackling, sprinting laps. Ethan tried to channel his anxiety into effort. Yet every time Leo barked instructions, every time their eyes met across the field, the tension rose. Finally, the drills ended, and the team collapsed onto the benches, panting and sweaty. Ethan grabbed a towel, dabbing his face when Leo sat beside him. Close. Not brushing, just near. Close enough that Ethan could feel the warmth radiating from him. You're quiet today, Leo said. I just tired, Ethan muttered. Leo raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. You've been distant lately, thinking about something. Ethan's stomach twisted. If only I could tell you the truth. Just school, he said finally. Leo gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. School's boring, but feelings, those aren't boring. You don't have to hide them. Ethan blinked. I don't know what you mean. Leo leaned back slightly, running a hand through his damp hair. I mean, sometimes we feel things we're not supposed to feel, and it's scary and confusing and amazing at the same time. Ethan's chest tightened. Every word felt like a thread connecting their hearts, even if no one else knew. Leo, he stopped. Words felt like flames in his mouth. Dangerous, reckless, impossible. Leo's gaze softened. I know. Ethan's pulse jumped. Knows what? Leo got up suddenly, stretching. I have to get to class. Don't overthink it. Ethan watched him walk away, frustration and longing churning inside him. They were so close, so impossibly close. Yet the rules, the team, the school, the fear of everyone finding out held them back. That night, Ethan lay in bed thinking about Leo, about the way he smiled, about the way he looked at him, about the dangerous warmth that spread through his chest whenever they touched, even slightly. He wanted to tell him. He wanted to say, I feel the same, but he couldn't. And somewhere he was certain Leo felt the same. The next day, Ethan arrived at practice early, hopping for another quiet moment. To his surprise, Leo was already there, sitting on the grass, football in hand. You came early, Ethan said, breathless. Couldn't sleep, Leo admitted. Thought maybe you'd be here too. Ethan's heart nearly stopped. I like quiet. Leo smiled, tossing the football lightly. Come on then, one game just you and me. They ran drills together, laughing, teasing, and for once, the world outside the field disappeared. It was just them, two people who knew something unspoken, something dangerous, but something that couldn't be denied. And maybe that was enough for now. The stadium lights buzzed overhead as the team gathered for an evening practice. The chill of early autumn made the air feel sharp, but inside Ethan's chest, it was a storm. Every time Leo laughed or barked instructions, Ethan's heart did a dangerous flip. Today felt different. Leo had been unusually quiet, checking on every player meticulously, but stealing glances at Ethan whenever he thought no one was looking. It was subtle, almost secretive, and it sent shivers down Ethan's spine. Coach Daniels blew his whistle. Scrimmage, let's see what you've got. Ethan ran onto the field, adrenaline pumping, but his focus wavered. All he could think about was Leo, and that flicker of emotion in his gaze that he had seen more than once in the past few weeks. The scrimmage started. Ethan intercepted a pass and sprinted toward the goal, heart racing. As he neared, he felt a shadow on his side. Leo was running beside him. Their feet brushed, and for a fleeting second, Ethan felt an electric charge run through him. He stumbled slightly, and Leo's steady hand on his back helped guide him. Careful, Leo murmured, and the word hit Ethan deeper than any play could. Later, during a water break, they found themselves sitting alone at the edge of the field, sweat-drenched and panting. Leo tossed his bottle aside and looked at Ethan with an intensity that made him swallow hard. You're pushing yourself too hard, Leo said, voice soft but firm. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Not to me, not to the team, not even to yourself. Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to argue, wanted to tell Leo that none of this mattered, his feelings, the rules, the risks. He just wanted Leo. I just like trying, Ethan said, words fumbling. Leo's gaze softened. I know, and I like that about you, more than I probably should. Ethan froze. More than he should. The words wrapped around his heart like a warm, dangerous ribbon. Before he could respond, the coach called them back to resume practice. They ran drills, their hands brushing once, twice, enough to send sparks through Ethan that he couldn't ignore. He caught Leo's eye each time, and there was a silent understanding, a secret shared between glances. After practice, Leo lingered as if reluctant to leave. Wait, he said, jogging over to Ethan. Can we talk? They walked to the empty bleachers, away from prying eyes. The night was quiet, the field illuminated by the dim stadium lights. Ethan's pulse raced. I can't, Leo admitted suddenly, leaning against the rail. I shouldn't feel this way. You're amazing, and I like you. But it's complicated. Rules, the team, everyone watching, I can't. Ethan's stomach twisted, but he took a step closer. Leo, I feel the same. I've felt it for months. I know it's complicated, but I don't care. Leo's eyes softened, a mixture of relief and fear in his gaze. You don't understand. If anyone found out, I don't care about anyone else. Ethan said firmly. I care about you, just you. For a heartbeat, they stood there, the world narrowing to the two of them. Their hands brushed, fingers intertwining tentatively. It was electric and terrifying and perfect. I don't know what we're doing, Leo admitted, voice shaking slightly. Then let's figure it out together, Ethan said, smiling. Leo let out a shaky laugh, finally relaxing a little. Yeah, together. They stayed on the bleachers for a while, talking quietly, sharing glances, stealing small touches that said more than words could. The world outside didn't exist, only the connection between them. That night walking home, Ethan felt a lightness he hadn't experienced in months. The fear was still there, the rules still looming, but so was hope. They had acknowledged it, finally. And somewhere in the quiet of his own room, Leo replayed every word, every glance, every small touch. He had crossed a line he hadn't dared before, and somehow he didn't regret it. For the first time, they both realized. Maybe love didn't have to wait for permission. Maybe it could exist quietly in stolen moments, under stadium lights, and in the secret spaces they had created for each other. The school stadium was quiet, bathed in the soft glow of early evening. The team had left for the day, the echoes of laughter and footsteps replaced by the gentle rustle of leaves and the faint hum of the scoreboard lights. Ethan leaned against the railing of the bleachers, heart still racing from the events of the past week. He thought about Leo, about the stolen moments, the glances, the words they had finally shared. It was terrifying, the way their connection had deepened so quickly, but it was also exhilarating. Love, in all its messy, complicated glory, had finally made itself known, and Ethan couldn't ignore it anymore. Footsteps approached, soft but deliberate. Leo emerged from the shadows, holding his football bag loosely by his side. His eyes met Ethan's immediately, a mix of determination and nervousness in their depths. Hey, Leo said, voice low. Hey, Ethan replied, a small smile tugging at his lips. They stood in silence for a moment, the world around them fatting. The air was thick with anticipation, the kind that made every heartbeat loud enough to hear. I wanted to talk, Leo began, running a hand through his hair. About us, about everything. Ethan nodded, stepping closer. Yeah, me too. Leo hesitated, then sighed. I don't know how we're supposed to do this. People will talk. The team, our friends, the rules. Let them talk, Ethan said firmly. We can't control what everyone else thinks. All we can do is be honest with each other. Leo's shoulders relaxed slightly. I've never felt like this about anyone, and I can't stop thinking about you. I want this. I want us. Ethan's chest tightened with emotion. I want that too. I've wanted it for months. For the first time, Leo smiled fully, without restraint. Then, let's figure it out together. They stood there, the quiet stadium around them, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. No team rules, no expectations, no fear, just them. Leo reached out, gently brushing Ethan's hand. The touch was light, cautious, but it said everything they had been afraid to voice. Ethan gripped his hand, holding it firmly, grounding himself in the moment. Feels right, Leo whispered. Yeah, Ethan agreed. More than anything. They walked down the steps together, side by side, hands brushing occasionally, smiles breaking through the nervous tension. It was new, it was thrilling, and it was theirs. Over the next few weeks, they learned to navigate the tricky balance of their relationship. They kept their connection private at school, small glances and subtle touches, but outside in quiet parks, on weekend walks, and after late practices, they could be themselves. They discovered the joy of shared secrets, whispered jokes, and the comfort of being accepted for who they truly were. One evening, after a long practice, they found themselves alone on the empty field. The sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. Leo tossed the football lightly, then caught it and looked at Ethan. You know, Leo said, being the captain isn't about winning games. It's about leading and protecting. And I've realized I want to protect this. Us. Ethan's heart soared. I want that too, us. They sat together on the edge of the bleachers, watching the sun dip below the horizon, hands entwined. No words were necessary. Everything had been said in glances, touches, and shared moments. In that quiet, golden light, Ethan realized something profound. Love didn't need approval, didn't need permission, and didn't need a perfect moment. It just needed honesty, courage, and the willingness to face the world together. Leo squeezed his hand, leaning slightly against him. We'll figure figure it out. Whatever comes, we'll do it together. Ethan rested his head against Leo's shoulder, smiling softly. Together. And in that moment, beneath the fading stadium lights, with the world stretching out around them, they found something more than love. They found trust, courage, and the certainty that whatever the future held, they would face it side by side. The final whistle of the day's practice had blown hours ago. But for Ethan and Leo, this was only the beginning of a story no one else needed to approve, a story that was theirs, messy, beautiful, and real. And for the first time in months, Ethan felt completely, unashamedly happy.